On Central tonight, Alistair Darling delivers his final budget before the general election.
So how much are we really gaining and losing from Darling's decisions? We'll have a full roundup and our expert panel will take us through how it could affect you.
The fact is, debt is appalling. It is huge, and we're going to have to wake up for that.
Good evening. With his eye on the election to come, Chancellor Alistair Darling has reached out to home buyers and businesses in his budget. The key message, stick with Labour and the economy will grow.
But no definite detail on how he'll tackle the country's multi-billion-pound deficit. Our business correspondent, Andy Bevan, has been out on the streets to gauge reaction to the Chancellor's proposals.
It may have taken just 58 minutes to deliver, but the effects of today's budget speech will last a whole lot longer. This is Kings Heath in Birmingham, but it could be any suburb in any part of the Midlands. So who wins and who loses after today's economic extravaganza? Drinkers and smokers, those regular targets of the Chancellor, will definitely lose out. From Sunday you can expect to pay a penny a pint more for beer, 4 pence more for a bottle of wine and 13 pence more for spirits. But also on Sunday, duty on cider will rise by 10% above inflation. Tobacco is also up by 1% above inflation, adding around 15 pence. Cash-strapped motorists can class themselves as winners, at least for now. Kings Heath has some of the cheapest petrol in the Midlands, and the government's proposed fuel duty increase of 3 pence due in April has been cut today to 1 pence. But before you get excited, those other 2 pence are being added in October and January. Anyone entering the property market is onto a winner for the rest of this year and next. The stamp duty limit for first-time buyers is being raised from midnight tonight to £250,000. Now this house is on the market for exactly that figure, so the saving here would be £2,500. The agent selling it says that has to be good news.
I think it will be a boost to first-time buyers who are already stretching themselves to save a deposit typically of 10% plus under current lenders' requirements.
Banks, you win, they lose. Sounds good, eh? Up to 1 million people will get access to a basic bank account for the first time. Tax-free ISA rates will rise from next month. And a new green bank will invest up to £2 billion in projects like offshore wind farms. But the traditional banks could turn out to be losers. Alistair Darling is pushing for a tax on them, and he'll be urging world finance ministers to agree to it in Washington next month. Business as usual? Well, not quite after today. Business rates are being cut for 1 year from October, so that will be a reduction in tax for businesses like this fish and chip shop. There's also more capital gains tax relief for those who want to sell. But many small businesses still need help from the banks, so Mr Darling has promised Lloyds and RBS will loan around £45 million to small firms.
I don't think it's happened so far because from what I hear from a lot of people who are trying to buy new businesses, they're struggling to get loans. So it doesn't seem to be as if it's been passed on to the customer on the high street.
There are some signs of recovery on our high streets, but they are very, very slow. Alistair Darling may have today promised to invest in Britain's future, but with the general election just weeks away, he'll no doubt be hoping those 58 minutes will have secured his own. Andy Bevan, Central Tonight.
So, winners and losers. Well, over the past few months, Central Tonight has had its own team of experts guiding us through the recession.
Today they watched Alistair Darling make his speech with our political correspondent Alison McKenzie. So, what did they make of today's announcement? Here's the panel versus the budget.
Alistair Darling said he'd deliver a budget fit for the times we're in, and these are tough times here in the Midlands. Our panel knows that better than anybody. Nick Greer, debt advisor, I know you picked up some information he gave on bank accounts for all. This is what the Chancellor announced today.
I want to make it easier for everyone to access banking services. Since 2003, the number of people without a bank account has been halved, and I can announce today that we will do more to combat financial exclusion through a guarantee that everyone can have a basic bank account.
Nick, why do you think that's important?
Well, a basic bank account is an account which doesn't have an overdraft or any credit facilities. Running your life without a bank account is a complete nightmare. You can't pay by direct debits. So people without a basic bank account can't take advantage of direct debits. So it means their utility bills are a lot more. There are 1.75 million people that don't have a basic bank account. He's committed to reduce it to zero. Well, let's see if he does it. Thank you, Nick. Well, Jackie French, I know you're interested in the careers advice for people up to the age of 24. There is a jobs and trainings guarantee, and the Chancellor had an announcement about that today.
But with recovery still in its infancy, we should not withdraw this support too soon. And because unemployment has been lower than forecast, the cost has been lower than expected. I have therefore decided to use the money saved to extend the guaranteed offer to young people until March 2012.
Jackie, what is that offer and what does that mean today?
Well, for education and training, just even within the Birmingham area, the Department of Work and Pensions has ploughed in £17.5 million just on something called the Future Jobs Scheme for young people. The idea that 2,500 extra people are likely to be able to have jobs. The September and January guarantees actually help to focus young people and those people that are accessing job seekers allowance at the job centres. Next Step advisors can now focus people into real jobs.
And it's real jobs is the key, isn't it?
It is real jobs, sustained permanent jobs, and that's a challenge.
Richard Simmons, business advisor, you know the importance of the economy and the Midlands businesses being successful. Did you hear anything of that today in the announcement?
Yes, Midlands businesses will really welcome the business rate relief. That's fantastic. He's trying to force the banks to lend more. It was 38 billion last year. Now it's going to be 94 billion, but only half the small and medium-term businesses. But the government permanently misses the whole point that the banks lend it to the strongest small businesses, not the average ones. And there's plenty of good Midlands businesses out there that just can't get the credit they need, and they should stay in business. But the complaints procedure will be fantastic, but it'll be like a Jarrow march from Birmingham, I think, down on London.
Thank you. The Chancellor was on his feet for an hour, and all three of you watched it all the way through. Nick, your summary, how did he do today?
Well, the good bits about the banking. Certainly, I was pleased about the £6 million mortgage relief for unemployment and the money for the pensioners. Overall, a bit wishy-washy.
Bit wishy-washy. Jackie, your thoughts?
Guarantees sound great, however it sounds pre-election like he might well be giving with one hand, perhaps taking with the other. We'll see.
And Richard, your summary please. What do you think overall?
Well, people sitting on their sofas will think we've got a flagship economy the way he speaks, but the fact is debt is appalling. It is huge, and we're going to have to wake up for that. And whoever gets in power, the next budget is going to be the one that's going to really hurt. He's going to cut the deficit in 4 years apparently, but I think at the moment he's doing it on tax on cider.
Well, Alison joins us now in the studio. Well, what's your assessment of the budget?
Well, of course, the big word hanging over all of this is the word election. Alistair Darling saying, stick with Labour, we're going to spend, bringing the economy forward, we're a safe bet. Or he's warning people, do you want to go with the Tories, who are going to have more austere cuts sooner? That's the clear choice. But what do people in the Midlands think of this budget? We checked out opinion today in Birmingham.
It's a bit disappointing really, because we've got a gaping hole in our finances, and I was expecting a little bit more in terms of trying to recover that hole.
Government are just laying us down all the time, year after year, regardless of who's in government, who's in power. Nothing changes.
I don't really mind taxes going up a little bit if it's going to make improvements. They've got to do something with the economy, and if it's in recession, then they're going to need some more money from somewhere.
I think the removal of stamp duty will help for first time, but it might just help to kick-start or increase the market. At the moment it has picked up a little bit.
At the end of the day, we also need money in our pockets to go out and buy houses and contribute to the economy.
Putting us out of business more again, aren't they? We can't keep putting the price up.
So Alison, what are the other political parties saying?
Well, it's always as though they'd heard what our viewers there were saying. David Cameron let rip. He talked of the massive budget deficit he said that the Chancellor was failing to tackle. He said you want 5 more years of debt, waste and taxes under Labour. And Nick Clegg said it was a budget all about denial. Let's have a look at